that peace is so hard, especially when your nervous system is so used to living in the chaos. I mean, no pun intended, but like people get so comfortable there.
Yeah.
That when you find peace, it's so uncomfortable. It feels unfamiliar. You think something's wrong, and then you start to have anxiety about that.
Yeah. And all the things that you think you're missing out on because you're living in peace. Like for me, I don't know what that feels like to its core, you know, because I've just always been searching for the next best thing. And you know, being on Ellen, like that was such a big moment for me where I was like, oh my God, I did it. But then I don't feel like I lived in the moment enough where I was like, damn, I did it. Like, what? I was just like, okay, well, what's next? Okay, what's next? And there's those pros and cons. It got me to where I am now, but also I haven't been able to, there's no longevity with that, you know?
So you're just searching for the next high.
Yeah, the next high.
Yeah.
And whether it's anxiety or drugs or alcohol or whatever, like mine's, I'm a workaholic. And like now I have to process that, you know? So, yeah.
I feel that when I'm not working and I have a lot of free time, that's when I have the hardest time.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what to do with myself. Like, I could literally do anything. Go somewhere, go to the beach, and I just like, I get in my head. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's, what I do that I need to be working. I need to be like leveling up. Like I always tell myself, level up. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Welcome to the chaos.
I've been excited to like really talk to you and get to know you on a more personal level. Because when I was injured in 2016, I didn't know anyone in wheelchairs or in the disabled community. I didn't know anything about disability. So what do? You go online and social media, you start like looking up people. I think I've typed in people in wheelchairs and you were like one of the first people that popped up.
That algorithm though.
On Instagram, right?
Thank you. No, just kidding.
So I started following you and I was seeing all the amazing things you were doing, and I was like, oh my God, like there's so many cool things that she's doing. Like I didn't know all this stuff is possible. And then I remember the first time was at the Abilities Expo. I want to say it was like 2018 or 2019. And it was like towards the end, you were like talking to some people and I saw you roll and I was like, oh my God.
Oh God.
It was like seeing a celebrity out in the
my
wild. Because, you know, you get to, you know, on social media, you start
Yeah.
following people and you feel like you know them. So when you see them, you're like, oh my God.
And then you get to actually know them. You seem like a good person, though. Some of the celebrities we've met kind of sucked after we saw them on social
I know,
media.
right? I know. But like that was one of the best things about you. You were so kind because the people were coming at you left and right, and I could tell that you were like, it was the end of the convention, you were tired, and I was like, I don't want to bother her, but you looked at me and you were like, hi, and I was like, oh, I'm Danny, I follow you, and then we had like a small conversation. That's like the first time I met you.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like I meet so many people that these days I'm like, I don't remember those moments. Like, but I remember just seeing you like around in the community, and then I saw you like into acting, and I remember seeing your Instagram, and then now look at you. You're like freaking killing it in everything that you're doing, like, which is so cool. But yeah, it's a very small community, but also big. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And we all like follow each other.
Yeah.
We follow each other's
We like know each other,
journeys.
but don't know each other. But yeah, so I'm excited to like.
You literally
chat.
met me like when I first started. Like I wasn't doing anything, no acting, nothing.
Yeah.
And
crazy.
then like every year, it's like, oh, we're
Yeah.
doing something bigger and I don't want to say better, but like
But yeah.
we're like leveling
you're
up.
getting better every year.
Yeah,
Every year.
true.
You get better looking every year, too, bro.
Yeah, we're not going backwards, that's for sure.
Thank you, pretty.
Extra moisturizer, not as much tequila.
That's probably better for you. So, wait, have you guys collabed on, like, because you have the Rollettes experience, and you just started a new concept with the boy band dances and the whole dance thing. So, have you guys collabed yet on, like, on a whole dance concept?
I'm waiting.
Because Josh Kalicki was here on the show already, and he was talking about working with you already. I know he just worked with you. So,
Yeah.
what's that future collab? Or are we just starting it right now?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I've been waiting.
Yeah.
I've been here, done that, but I haven't,
We'll have to talk about that off camera and see.
Yeah, I want to hear more about because when we were going back and forth in email, you were telling us about the Rollette experience.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about that because it sounds really cool. And from what Danny was telling me about you, it seems like you have this amazing organization.
It started purely because when I was newly injured, I just wanted friends, honestly. I didn't really know of a lot of people that were my age that were up in Northern California that were also wheelchair users. So I grew up dancing my entire life. I knew that's like what I wanted to do in life. I wanted to move to LA and be a professional backup dancer. Had no idea what that meant, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. And then being paralyzed, I was like, okay, well, I'm not seeing a lot of wheelchair dancing, But I was on a reality show called Push Girls on the Sundance Channel. We had 2 seasons, and in that I rediscovered my love for dance through one of the Push Girls, Ati, who was a mentor of mine for years.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
She's the best.
She like helped reignite that fire of being a dancer. And she said to me, once a dancer, always a dancer. And that like struck me like so hard. And so I, was on the show and started a dance team, an idea of a dance team. And then like how Rollettes Experience kind of started was just like getting us all together every year or every like 6 months, and just kind of grew and grew over time. And I remember my dad after the first year, he was like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "I want a ballroom full of women dancing in chairs." And he was like, "Okay, yeah." Like no idea what that would look like, So every year we just got together and danced and had this team, and it wasn't called Rollettes back then. Then I moved to LA and kept growing it, and so yeah, it's now this event is now a 501c3 as of this year. It's been like a business ever, and from the beginning, but
Kind of have to.
business.
There's that part of it.
Yeah, like just kind of going with the flow, but it's now a 501c3, and so it's the largest women's empowerment weekend for women and children with disabilities now, which is so crazy. And I hope it grows more and more. But we have panels, seminars, dance classes, parents classes, a parents dance class, kids classes, arts and crafts. We have parties at night, and then this year was our first year. We opened it up to guys coming, and Danny got to come, and yeah, it was so cool.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I hope
That's
it
so much fun.
grows. I don't know what the future is, but I hope that it just keeps growing, and it's a space for people with all kinds of disabilities to come to and just collaborate and network. So
That's really awesome.
It really was like a great week. And I've been going, I don't know who invited me. You invited me one year just to come hang out. I remember it was to see the talent show.
Yes.
Because
You were
every
a
year
judge.
you do. Yeah, I showed up the first time as a guest just to
yes,
watch
yeah.
it. And I still have that picture, by the way, somewhere. My hair was like this tall. It's when I used to do the coif. You remember those days? I mean, it was
big coif.
it was like, but that was the first year I just came as to see it, and then every year I would just go by. I'd go for one day, and then one year I got to judge the actual talent show. So, thank you so much for inviting me back every year. And then this year we had the guys' day, which was incredible. It was like one of the most fun weekends I've ever had. Wow. And it was like being back in high school, and like a summer camp feel.
Yeah.
And then you feel comfortable because it's all people with disabilities and no one is staring at you. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless the people that come into the hotel who don't know what's going on, they're like, it's like 85,000 wheelchairs rolling around. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
But like for us, it's the community is so much love there, and like you just feel like you can be yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just like full of happiness. And
it was scary to the last few years I've been definitely wanting to open up to guys, because I've heard guys, be like, oh, we need something like this. We need something, And so I was like, last year I was like, I really want to do it. I want to open up to guys, see what happens. And this year we did it. And honestly, the feedback that we got from a lot of the guys, I was like, whoa. Like one guy, came up to me and just started bawling. And he was like, thank you so much for like letting these, this happen. And I was like, oh, like, wow, and people, you guys all talked about different subjects. I wasn't in the room, I don't know, but I did hear that like it went so good that so many people got resources and got information, and in ways that like you can't really do at like an event where you're like, hi, how are you, okay, bye. It's like you get to talk about dating, sex, relationships, how to be independent, all of that. And so if we get to talk about it, then I think guys should talk about it too.
Oh yeah, that dating and sex panel.
I heard it went off.
That was a spicy one. We
I'm sure it was.
You had a lot to say, didn't you?
I mean, I did, but I also like heard some stuff that I was like, what? Doing that tomorrow? No, we're not gonna get into the details, but just the fact that there was a lot of those guys had never been in a room with that many men ever, in wheelchairs, like disabled men around them. So everybody's like guard was just down, and they were like talking about their own experiences, and no one was judging them. We're like, yeah, that happened to me too.
Yeah.
And it was just the camaraderie that we felt that day. and the love. Like you really felt it throughout the room.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, you know, picking topics for guys, I'm like, I, you know, talked to the committee and I was like, what do you guys want to talk about? And so everyone picked it. But I think it also gives, if someone doesn't think they need to hear about a certain topic, just even being in the room and overhearing other people's experiences and, like, you know, their thoughts on it, I think also just subconsciously opens up your mind to, like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Or, oh, I never put my pants on like that, but that makes sense. Or, you know, things like that. So I can't wait to see it grow.
Yeah, the best thing was like the age demographic. Like there was some guys like myself who have been paralyzed for 9 years, and there are other guys that are like 20, 30 years. So like even though I've been through a good bit of portion of my life, I learned so much from those guys, and the fact that they were so open with it.
Yeah.
That's what made it special. Like everyone came out with something, and then we were all like hugging and dancing at one point. Which,
I know. Josh got him dancing. It was so good.
That, I mean,
next year y'all gonna be out on the main stage and y'all gonna be doing
right
for us. But
it's crazy. Viola Davis reposted that.
I know.
That's awesome.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you a funny story.
What?
So when he posted on Facebook, my friend from New Orleans texted me. She's like, I saw that Facebook video of you dancing. And I'm like, oh, which one?
What video?
And she sent it to me. She's like, there's all these girls in the comments asking who's the guy in the blue shirt.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And she's like, there's this one girl. I don't know if she's probably going to watch this, but she's like, whoever that guy in the blue shirt is, I wanted to put a ring on it. and I told her, I was like, hook it up.
Oh my God.
So I started talking to that girl on Facebook. Gosh. It's so it's so funny.
You're a stud, bro.
I know, right?
You always have been.
And the funniest thing is I didn't know that he was recording that and that he was going to post it. So I'm not big on, like, I don't follow what's going on a lot on social media, so I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah.
But just to have that happen was really
cool.
funny.
So cool.
Yeah.
Small world.
I know, right?
That's hilarious.
That's amazing, though. Just like hearing your story is like, obviously I've known Danny for a long time, and before he was in this accident, and then afterwards, you know, just like him finding the community, because you said the same thing. I didn't know anybody, and it's like it's a whole shift and adjustment in your lives. So like once you found the community, like I saw this shift in you. But then even now, so I think this past year, me and Sophia were talking about just seeing you dancing. You're just like the happy person that I met so long ago, and probably even happier, because when I met you, we were in nightlife and we were already on that decline. Yeah. So like it's just really cool to see. And then kind of just going back to what you're saying, like having all these guys around, it's like, yo, we really focus on, with our 501c3, we focus on men's mental health, because men have a really hard time speaking. So like, honestly, I didn't even think about it even more. It's like being, you know, a guy in a wheelchair with other men, there still might be some sort of things you're closed off about that you probably opened up more about in that scenario. So like, that's amazing on you to facilitate something like this for everybody. It seems like you're really making a difference, which is really cool. Thanks.
It's a lot of fun. And, you know, every year we learn, every year we change things, and like the attendees honestly make the years so different. And like, I don't know what's going to happen in a few years, but I think like being able to open it up for guys, I think is so incredibly important, because, you know, we have all these events that go on for the community, but there's nothing that actually focuses on true conversations that need to be had about, you know, living with a disability and like being independent, whatever that means to people, you know, like mentally or physically. So, I'm excited to see what the future holds, opening it up, because I've wanted to do it, but, you know, we look like we're a big thing, but like there's like a few of us that plan it. So yeah, it's a lot. Yeah,
I mean, if it's just a few, you're doing amazing work, and
thanks.
I feel like every year it's on its way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, but I wanted to get back into before all of this, before like being on the Ellen show, which we can get into, and like all this notoriety that you're getting. Before you were injured, like what was the path, and then you got injured, and like what was your outlook on life at that point?
You know, I knew from a very young age that I wanted to be a dancer. Like, it was the one thing that I was good at. And I, you know, always went to competitions, and I was in the convention life of like, you know, going to all these dance conventions. And so I knew that was what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to, you know, move to Los Angeles and be a professional backup dancer and go on tours and stuff. And so that was very clear to me. I was not the academic person. I hated school. But I knew that I could make my parents proud being a dancer, because I always won trophies and I always won first. Like, that was very clear. But, you know, then hearing those words, you know, after a car accident, and like, you know, getting in the car with a drunk driver, and, you know, being paralyzed, hearing those words from a doctor that like, you're never going to walk again. Like for me, the first thing I said was like, I don't just walk, I'm a dancer. Like, how is that possible? I never knew that you could go from walking one day to then not feeling your legs. Like what? That I had no idea that was even physically possible. And so, you know, that to me, I was like, in my head, I always thought that like, oh, well, I'm going to be that miracle that gets up and walks again. Cause that's all we would see. You know, you see like those shows about people that like get injured and then they miraculously are healed. And like, I never knew that you could live a life, you know, independent life, a successful life as somebody with a disability. You know, I just wasn't educated. So I went on after my, you know, being disabled, and I was like, well, I'm going to walk again. Like, I'm going to be that, you know, miracle, which there are a lot out there. But I didn't see a lot of people that, you know, lived a productive life and a successful life other than the push girls. And that was my model of like what my life could be. They taught me how to wear a skirt. They taught me how to look sexy. They taught me how to, you know, put heels on feet that wouldn't move, you know, and they honestly taught me about how I could be a young woman. So I think that really played a huge part into like who I wanted to become, because I had such strong role models. And then I realized being on the show that there's so many people in the world that get paralyzed or get, you know, diagnosed that don't have that opportunity that I had of having such a strong group of women like that, like knew what they wanted to do. And they were a driving force that I wanted to help bridge that gap. So
yeah.
And
that's true. Like when you're first injured, no one is really there to tell you like there's this life out there that you can live.
Yeah.
I mean, I think now it's getting better with like Triumph Foundation and all these different, you know, Rollettes Foundation. Do you call it Rollettes Foundation?
Rollettes
Foundation. But back when I this is 9 years ago, when I was injured, I actually just missed Triumph. I didn't get a chance to meet them. So I spent a year and a half by myself in a studio apartment in Van Nuys I didn't know anyone.
Whoa.
So I fell into like a deep depression. But like even before then, like when there weren't these organizations, foundations, you were just like on your own.
Yeah.
And all you think,
or social media wasn't what it is
Right.
today.
Right.
Yeah.
And you think, you know, when you're first injured, you're like, I'm gonna walk again. You think that's the most important part, but there was no one there to tell you like, trust me, walking is not the most important thing, because once you start, your body starts falling apart.
Yeah.
We don't want to get into nitty gritty. Like
Yeah.
we know what's up.
Yeah.
But like, there's
Walking's
things that
the
your
least.
body's walking is the least
Of your
thing
worries.
of
Do
your
you
worries.
mind getting into the new? Like, I think the amazing thing about having the two of you on here is like I've learned. I didn't know anything about the disabled community, but I've learned so much through you, and you being such an advocate, and like so many people that we've talked to about that have watched Chaos tell us like, yo, I didn't know so much, and I learned so much from watching Danny. And I think if you don't mind getting into a little bit of the nitty gritty, I think like this is what you guys are here for, to advocate, right? So like,
I mean, I've
people
had
need to know the hard things that you go through. It's a lot of respect.
You know, I personally have made jokes throughout like different episodes about not having control of bladder or bowel. And like that's the thing that really, like for my level injury, I'm not sure what yours is.
Yeah, same.
T11.
T10. Yeah.
All right, so I'm T11. So we, you know,
So what's the T? Just the
like-
spinal, where in the spinal cord?
Like thoracic, there's like cervical, thoracic, lumbar. So like my injury is technically L3, but my level of injury or my level of sensation is T10, which is like kind of weird. So it's like belly button is like where my feeling stops.
Yeah, same. So right under the belly button for me, I can't feel or move anything below there. So when you're in the hospital, you're like, I'm gonna walk again, and they send you home, and you're thinking about this, and then you're out in public and you pee on yourself or you poop on yourself, and those are just things that it becomes part of your life. That is like, just think about it, like before your accident, that's not something you ever thought about.
Yeah.
And
Unless you're old.
Yes. And it's humiliating when it happens to you. You feel like less than a person, like you're an adult and this is happening to you. So those are the things that like really, when those things start happening, you're like, forget about walking. How do I fix this? How do I control
How do I
this?
get that under control? Yeah. And like a lot of people, you know, they see us and they're like, oh, like you can't walk, you know, and it's like you're saying, like walking's the least of our worries. I wish I could, you know, feel when I have to go to the bathroom. I wish I could feel when like my body is uncomfortable. I wish I, you know, didn't have rods in my back. I wish I could, you know, not worry about getting a pressure sore or like always worry about a urinary tract infection that
Yeah.
we suffer with all the time because we have to use a catheter. Like, there's so many different levels that people have no idea. And there's so many people that share, you know, intimate things like that. But walking still to this day is the least of my worries, because even if I started walking tomorrow, are my bones healthy enough that they're not going to snap, you know, after being paralyzed for like 15 years? Like,
I've never thought about that.
like, can I, like, you know, I walk down the aisle with leg braces, but haven't stood up in leg braces since, you know, like,
Yeah.
are my legs, like, would my femur just snap? Because, you know, I have osteoporosis now because I haven't walked in 15 years. So there's a lot more to it that, you know, I remember on Push Girls, one of the episodes, they were like, if you had a magic pill, would you take it? That would make you walk. And I remember being newly injured, being like, of course I would. Absolutely. And a few of the girls were like, I wouldn't. And I'm like, what? That's crazy. Like, you know, being newly injured, I'm like, of course I want to walk again. And then now being 15 years injured, I'm like, I don't know if I would just take a pill just to walk. I would want to take a pill to be able to feel like different functions. I want to be able to, you know, like, whoa, now I'm thinking about it completely different.
Yeah. I've had that question like pop up. If someone asked me, would you rather walk or be able to feel?
Yeah.
I'll be like, feel instantly.
Yeah.
Like, because people see us in wheelchairs and they're like, oh my God, I feel so bad. We can get anywhere. We can go, okay, I can't go like up Runyon Canyon and like,
It's overrated anyway.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't go on hikes and do all that and just run and stuff that I miss.
But there's a lot more we can do.
But we can do so much more.
Yeah.
It's the other stuff that is constantly, it messes more with your mental stability than your physical capability.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially when like you and then introduce like dating and you introduce like marriage and then having kids and then like, you know, I'm a mom. So like, then how do I be a good mom with a disability while also handling my own stuff and being there for a child that depends on me? Like, there's so many other factors that I'm like, yeah, that it messes with you mentally more than I think physically.
Yeah. Which is, you have an amazing daughter. She is a character.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my! If you give her a microphone, she's ready. How old is she?
2.5.
Dude, she's up there doing stand up. 2.5.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Mark my words, I'm in trouble.
We're gonna have her on the Chaos one day.
Yeah, she's definitely my child. She has my personality.
So funny. But how, like, where were you at when you found out you were pregnant? Because you were paralyzed at this point, right? Like, were you prepared for that? Did you have anyone give you advice on that? How was that journey?
You know, I mean, we got married and we knew that like we wanted to try, like, you know, after we got home from our honeymoon, we're like, we're gonna go for it. So it's, you know, obviously all planned out, but I didn't realize I was gonna get pregnant that fast. You know, I had no idea I was pregnant. We found out we were pregnant when I was in Vegas.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that was exciting. I found out actually on Mother's Day. I took a
wow.
test
No.
and I was like, oh, no more drinks for me.
Wow.
So that was amazing. I had, you know, 3 months of being so incredibly sick. And then as soon as the second trimester hit, I was like, it was like a light switch. I was like, I'm good. Like, I got energy. I actually loved being pregnant. Like, loved it. Physically, like, I felt so powerful and I felt like such a bad like, I was like, I can be disabled and be pregnant and like, and, you know? So I think carrying Jalen was like the most incredible experience. You know, towards the end, I was like, all right, well, how are we going to get this baby out of me? Like, how is this going to work? You know, like how do other people do it? And I started doing more research and, you know, so many of my friends that have given birth that are paraplegic would be like, oh yeah, like I just did natural. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, you know, I'll try that. And, you know, that experience for me, I think was not something that I could really expect because everyone says like, you can't really expect how your birth plan is going to be. Like, you can't really plan for it and you can do the best you can. And for me, my experience, I think I was robbed of what it could have been just because I feel like I did everything I could to make sure that like my team was educated on my disability and like I had, you know, meetings to be like, this is my injury, these are where my rods are. I want to make sure the anesthesiologist knows what's going on so I can get an epidural, and everything seemed, you know, all green lights. And until I literally showed up that day and they were like, the anesthesiologist doesn't want to give you an epidural. And I was like, what? Y'all knew for 9 months I was coming. Like, what? What do you mean they just decided? So I was like, all right, then I'm not going to get an epidural and I'm going to go completely natural with no pain meds. And, ooh, luckily the spinal cord injury helps with a little bit of the pain.
I was going to ask, right.
I still was in, I labored for I think 14 hours with no pain meds. So I felt all the contractions. I labored more in my back, but the stomach was, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, and then ended up, long story short, having to be put under because I just couldn't.
That's too
do it
much.
anymore.
14 hours?
Yeah, and so, but woke up to a beautiful, healthy baby, and that's all that matters. And
that's what matters.
I processed that in a way mentally because for me, I felt like when I woke up and I was a mom, I felt like that same feeling of waking up and hearing that I was paralyzed. Like I feel like my whole world flipped upside down and I didn't get to experience becoming a mom in the same way that I would have if I was walking. So I genuinely struggled so much with postpartum because of that. But it is what it is.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, and she's healthy.
She is healthy, beautiful personality for days.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I mean, if there's paralyzed women out there listening, that you can have babies and it's possible.
Yeah. And sometimes things don't go as planned, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
And the way it's supposed to work out is the way it's supposed to work out.
Definitely.
So as long as she's healthy, that's all I cared about.
Definitely. So take us back. How did you meet the Push Girls back then? And what was the community like when you were injured?
It was not what it is today, that's for sure. I met them. So when I was in the hospital, my dad, I was like, I'm never going to dance again. And I was going through it. And I remember he brought in a laptop and he was like, hey, I just want you to watch something. He set it on my lap and he pressed play. And it was Auntie Angel and her old dance partner. It wasn't Mia. It was another person. And they were dancing for Ludacris in their wheelchairs on stage. And I was like, well, this is cool. And I just started, my wheels started spinning. I was like, that's cool. I like that. Nah, that's weird. Nah, I don't like that. That's cool. And I was like, all right. And that was my dad's way of dripping, what could be.
Yeah.
And then I went down to a Life Rolls On fundraiser. I got invited by them. And I don't know, someone was like, oh, you should reach out, whatever. Went and Ati was getting out of the car. And I was like,
yeah.
I had the same reaction that you had about me.
Exactly.
I had about her. I was like, oh my God. And I was starstruck. And my dad was like, go say hi. And I was like, no. I can't. And he was like, hey, my daughter's a big fan, blah, blah. So that's how I first met all of the Push Girls, was just at an event. And they were pitching a show. And, that next day, Ati was like, she said to me, she was like, once a dancer, always a dancer. And I was like, oh, she gets it, Then the next day, she was like, come to my house and audition for my dance team. And I was like, all right, cool. So that's kind of how it all started.
So I definitely, I want to give Alti her props because she was a legend in our community. Mm-hmm. And she was in that Ludacris video and she was, she did so much. Her personality just, yeah. I met her only a few times, but the first time I met her was at an audition. And she greeted me. She's like, what's your name? Tell me about your injury. And she's the one that taught me how to do the wheelie
spins.
The wheelie spins
Her
for
thing.
the first time ever.
Yeah.
In an audition, and that was my introduction to Alti.
Wow.
But she did pass away. Was it a year ago, 2 years ago?
No, almost 3 now.
3. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was on my honeymoon when I found out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was a pillar of the community, and
yeah,
definitely want to give her props because she helps so many people on their journey.
And I think also too, on that, I think there's so many people in the able-bodied world, non-disabled world or whatever, that get the credit that they deserve, that I don't think that, and this is me being honest, I don't think that our community understands, especially newly injured and especially in the dance world, is I don't think that our community understands who really pioneered wheelchair dancing, and it was her.
Wow.
1000%. I could go on a whole rampage about what she's done and the wheelie spins and the dance videos, what she started. and what she like passed on to all of us is like I think of her as someone that like she knocked on the door, like, you know, I turned the knob and the whole community is walking through the door or rolling through the door. Like she was the person that was like, I'm gonna build the door so we can go through it. And like I think because of all of the things that she's been through and all the no's that she went through, she got the no's so all of us could have the yeses. And it's because of her that we can see wheelchair dancing at the level it is today. So I could go on and on about her, but yeah. Which is really cool.
That's amazing that you get to carry the legacy of it.
Yeah, I think all of us do, you know, like you had that encounter with her. I had all of my, you know, years of encounters with her and I got to be mentored by her. But like, I think, you know, it just takes one person to be like, this is what you can do. And then it's up to that person to run with it, you know, and that's what we're all doing.
Yeah.
So,
carrying the torch in our own way. And now we're getting, you know, I joined a company called Infinite Flow, and it's a separate company than Chelsea's. And we do, you know, we're all still like showing people what we could do through dance. But for me, like I never thought dance was possible. Even though I saw you doing it, I was like, for me, I'm like, I can't do that.
I remember you saying, you were like, I don't know.
I felt so embarrassed. And I just like, I finally, the time came when I said, yes, let me try this. And it's been, even though I still get like frustrated at certain things, and it's been such a gift to like be able to move again, because if you would have met me when he knew me, I was always usher sliding across the floor. Like when we were at work at the clubs, like I would be on top of boxes dancing, pouring shots. Like that
Let's
was
go. Okay,
I loved
Danny.
it.
Okay.
And then slowly but surely, like
it was some wild times.
I
yeah,
bet.
that part of me, yeah.
You like
we
feel
got
like
some
you
good
lost
memories.
it.
I did. And I still get shy about dancing out in public if I'm not like performing at an event. But
it's because our stupid managers told you to stop dancing.
yeah, man.
What?
Yeah, we
We worked at a company that was very
okay.
very snooty in a sense, and
snooty.
Snooty is a good word to put.
Yes.
It's the nicest way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to give another person that I met, sort of because of you, was at the Rollettes experience one year. I think it was last year or the year before. Judy Human. Judy Human was a pioneer for the ADA rights. She they actually just made a film about her. Sean Hayter, the director of CODA.
Are you in the film?
No.
Dang it! What?
So yeah, I auditioned for this, and like it's a
miss.
long story.
Big miss.
Big
Are
miss.
you kidding me?
Yeah.
Darn.
You know, that one hurt.
Oh, I bet.
That one hurt.
Dang. Okay.
For a lot of reasons. I talked to Judy before she passed, and we were talking about the movie, and you know, she's like, I'd love to see you in it, and I was like, me too. And, but it just didn't work out, and you know, it still kind of stings, but the fact that that movie's being made is gonna be amazing for our community.
Yeah.
But I did meet her at it's funny, I was coming out of the bathroom and she was just rolling in a hallway. And she's
really?
She's like, Danny. I was like, oh my God, she knows who I am. So we had a great conversation, and yeah, it's you know, it's because of events like that. So like everything you're putting on is like feeding other people's souls and giving other people opportunities to like, you know, meet their mentor or meet their heroes. So
I appreciate that, because I mean, you know, on the behind the scenes side, like it is very hard, you know, to keep things going, and like the human side of all of it, and putting on Rollettes experience is a lot more than I think anyone really knows. And one day, like, I will open up about that, but like it's really hard. But like when the event does come around and we see everyone and we see and hear the feedback like that, like it does make it all worth it. And people think that it just has come so easy, and it's just like, you know, but they have absolutely no idea what it takes to do, you know, what we're all doing. And I appreciate that.
How do you? So I can relate to you. I throw massive events all over the world, music festivals and things like that, and it's a lot. How do you stay grounded during it? Because that's something I've had several mental breakdowns because of some of these large events that I've thrown, and just the pressure that you take, especially when you're the one who's running the whole thing. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of things that are riding on you. I had to learn a lot of different modalities to keep myself grounded, from breath work to meditation, things like that. Like, so
I
what
need
are
to
some of the
learn
things
that.
that you do?
Right.
I gotta learn that.
We can talk after.
Yeah.
You just kind of grit your teeth and just push through.
Honestly, the last 7 months, I hit my breaking point because of the amount of work that has been on my plate. So I think like right now I'm kind of coming out of that fog, and I'm honestly trying to like rediscover what I'm genuinely passionate about, because it's just so much has depleted me. So I'm kind of
Burnt out.
yeah. And I'm at that point where I'm like, what's important to me? What's my why again? Like, and I don't really have a certain thing that I do to like keep myself grounded, other than like I have such an incredible support system around me that doesn't let me fall too far. Like I think it's important to fall, but I think it's also important to make sure that you can get back up. And that's like, and whether it's get back up in a week or get back up in like, take a break or whatever, I'm kind of at that point right now where I'm figuring out what that is, and like what can I take off my plate, and like go to therapy and like figure out who I am now, being a mom and being a business owner and running a nonprofit and having my own career and having to fund all of this at the same time. Like people don't have literally no idea. And the higher you get up there, the more criticism you get and the more opinions you get, that gets to you, because you're like, I don't get paid from this, but like I love it. So it's very hard.
And we're disabled doing it.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand. Have you ever heard about the spoon theory?
I think so, but remind me.
Like you have like a certain amount of spoons that you start the day off with, and let's say you going to the bathroom takes 1 spoon away. Well, for us, going to the bathroom takes 2 spoons away. So by the end of the day, we have depleted. We've used all our spoons in half a day than what a non-disabled person would go through. I forget who created the whole spoon theory, but it's out there on Google if you want to Google it.
Yeah.
But like so, like I find that because you're doing so much more, and you're being a mom, and like where do you find the energy? Like what do you? I would have like I need like a caffeine thing that just injects into my bloodstream.
I genuinely don't know. I think for me the last 7 months, I think I've just lived on autopilot, where I haven't actually been living in the moment, because I have so many other things going on in my mind that like before being a mom, I was like, oh, like I got this. But then now adding on that mom factor and having to like really be present when I'm home and like turn off my phone between the hours of 5 and 8 p.m. so I can have that quality time with my daughter, it has been very challenging, because if I don't put in the work and we don't have the money to do it, then like I'm doing it for free, like, and then I'm paying for it. So I don't know where I've gotten it, but I will say the way that I have operated the last like 7 months has not been mentally healthy. And I'm currently in the process of figuring out what that looks like moving forward and what is my new capacity. Because being a mom and having a kid change every 6 months, and their abilities and learning new things also makes my job as a mom change every few months. So yeah.
But like you're so like I feel like you're so far ahead of the curve where so many people don't even have the awareness to be like, I need to fix something. I need to go to, like, so many people don't want to go to therapy. I think therapy is a godsend. I've been doing it for years. I think every human being should go to therapy. But like the fact that you have that awareness is such a huge step in the right direction.
Thanks. Yeah, I think I appreciate that. I think it's taken a while for me to like understand that as well, because being in it and feeling like I'm drowning every day and living on this anxiety high all the time, and now going to therapy being like, why am I so hungry for this anxiety high all the time? Why can't I just live in peace? And like, why am I always searching for what's next? And granted, there's pros and cons to that. Like, it's gotten me to where I am running that way, but now being a mom, I'm like, how do I pull back and not always live in that anxiety phase and be okay with just taking my daughter to the park and like being okay in that moment and not being like, oh, there's so many things I have to do right now, and just being there.
Present.
So I'm trying to like figure out what that is and what it feels like and fall in love with that,
Yeah, but finding that peace is so hard, especially when your nervous system is so used to living in the chaos. I mean, no pun intended, but like people get so comfortable there.
Yeah.
That when you find peace, it's so uncomfortable. It feels unfamiliar. You think something's wrong, and then you start to have anxiety about that.
Yeah, and all the things that you think you're missing out on because you're living in peace. Like for me, I don't know what that feels like to its core, you know, because I've just always been searching for the next best thing, and you know, being on Ellen, like that was such a big moment for me where I was like, oh my God, I did it. But then I don't feel like I lived in the moment enough where I was like, damn, I did it. Like what? I was just like, okay, well, what's next? Okay, what's next? And there's those pros and cons. It got me to where I am now, but also I haven't been able to, there's no longevity with that, you know?
So you're just searching for the next
yeah,
high.
the next high.
Yeah.
And whether it's anxiety or drugs or alcohol or whatever, like mine's, I'm a workaholic. And like now I have to process that, you know? So, yeah.
I feel that when I'm not working and I have a lot of free time, that's when I have the hardest time.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what to do with myself. Like I could literally do anything, go somewhere, go to the beach, and I just like, I get in my head, I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like it's, what I do that I need to be working. I need to be like leveling up. Like I always tell myself, level up. Like what am I doing?
Yeah. Finding that balance, I think, is hard. And I hate that word. I hate the word balance because don't have balance in my life because my life is so different every single day, every single week. But I also think what plays a part in that is social media. And like, there is no way to get around it other than having your own boundaries around social media. And I think that's like where I've started is what boundaries can I set around social media where I'm not consuming it, where I'm not judging myself based off of other people's highlights. And I think that's been the biggest thing for me this year is being more figuring out what those boundaries are with social media and being like, I'm okay where I'm at because even though I'm not showing, you know, all my success, I'm still okay with who I am. I don't know. You know what I mean?
No,
like
100%. And like you said, the highlights, like, but 95% of people's highlights are complete. Because you could have that moment, but then like, I mean, how many people do we see on, especially when we work in the club, see on social media have this amazing life, but in the club begging to get in or begging for money or bottles or shots, and like it's so ridiculous because it's not true. It's not real life.
Yeah.
It's this facade.
And you have an incredible social media presence. Like, I mean, that's obviously how I found you in the beginning. So you're always pushing positivity, and I'm like, I see you do all these things. I'm like, how did you have time for all that? And you run your page, right, by yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is another job.
Yeah.
Thank God for JP.
Yeah. I think
I have
like
a social media person.
I have trouble posting what
It's been the best thing ever. He's amazing.
nice.
I haven't created my own post. Like, I've reposted a lot of things
I
in the
created you a
past few
TikTok
months.
and you still won't use it.
I don't have TikTok.
No, you do.
I mean, I
do.
do,
I
but
made you one.
I personally
Danny.
don't even know how to get into it.
I sent you the login.
I have stuff, like, I don't know what it is. There's an anxiety that social media gives me that, like, posting,
But
I have stuff.
It's a judgment though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's something I have to get over because I was in New York a few months ago for the Drama Desk Awards, and that was a huge deal. I haven't posted anything about that.
Danny.
And then I was on a show. I shot an episode for the new Dexter.
What?
That I'm gonna be in.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, you heard it here, folks.
Amazing.
So by the time you hear this, it would have aired because the finale is September 6th or 7th. Wow. So I was there doing that, and like all this stuff happened back to back to back, and I'm like, I don't have time. Now it's too much time has passed. Like, is it okay to post? Like, I start talking myself out of it, and then I just don't post anything.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that. I will say that it doesn't matter when, as long as you do.
Yeah.
You know, like it'll always be relevant because it's your life and it's your story. So like I understand that, and I get paralysis of the mind when I'm like, I have too much going on. I don't want to edit anything. Like, I totally get that. But it's on your time, so you can share when you want. That's the beauty of it being your space, you know?
Yeah. I think I just overthink it. Like, what do I need to say? What hashtags I need? Who do I need to tag? Where do I need, what music? I should maybe just like, just put it, just post it.
We also didn't grow up that way, so it's like it wasn't like a thing. Like when when you're acting back in the day, it's like, well, you just had to do is worry about the craft. Now it's like social media is a part of everything. It does not matter what you do. You could have a regular 9-to-5 job or whatever. You could be like most. Look at all these doctors and dentists that are. My dentist has a full social media presence. It's like it's part of it.
It's wild, man.
It's part of everything now.
Yeah,
you can no longer just be the actor. You have to have. You have to be across the board. You have to be the personality.
Which also I feel like kind of also sucks in the same.
Definitely does.
Because I'm like, why do we have to do all of this? Why can't we just be? But there's pros and cons to it, and it is hard, but also I like social media. Just like I've always loved to like edit videos and make videos and stuff. It's always just been who I am. So for me, being on social media is just very natural, but I also am starting to like open up more on my own social media about what I'm going through, because people do see me as someone on social media that like has it together or whatever, or like I just get it, I don't know. But they don't see the behind the scenes of how hard I have worked to get here.
Social media has such a negative connotation, but there is so much beauty in it. Like being able to express that and show people, it's like, hey, I'm this human being. I struggle too.
Yeah.
It makes you relatable. It makes other people feel not alone.
Yeah.
It's let us see other people's art that most people would never get to see, that inspires somebody. It's like there is such a beauty to it. We just look past it because there is so much negativity that surrounds it.
Yeah, totally.
And I know there's like opportunities that have come from social media that I know for sure I could be doing better, that I could be putting myself out there and more people, reaching more people. So like, what are some of the coolest things that have come from social media, opportunities? And while you think of that, we can talk about like what's been one of your favorite memories throughout your journey, or like something funny, or one of the coolest things that you think.
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. So hard. I mean, Josh and I were on Ellen because of our, video we post on social media. Him and I booked a whole 3-month East Coast dance tour with a bank on the East Coast.
What?
So yeah, I don't know if he ever told you that, but yeah, we went to the East Coast for 3 months on and off, booked a whole dance tour around TD Bank, which was crazy.
That's super random.
Yeah, very random.
So what were you doing? Just performing at
their like get-togethers, their like company
Convention.
yeah, in
Wow.
like a auditorium, like for 3 months straight.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like every 2 weeks. I mean, I got to perform in the Paralympics last year.
That's awesome.
I saw that.
So that was all based off of people finding me on social media, So I think there's a lot that, comes from social media that is good, while also like understanding and respecting the hard part of social media. I think some of my favorite performances, definitely, Paralympics last year was the most insane ride. So cool. I got to dance on a piano while I was moving across a huge stage. And,
That's cool.
The Eiffel
we need
Towers.
that video.
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
It's on, yeah.
Yeah, it's online.
Online for sure.
But then like, seeing the Eiffel Tower sparkling while I'm like the first person on stage, it was just so surreal. Like I still get chills thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, all the World of Dance performances, it's been really, really cool. Really cool.
It's amazing that it still comes down to like, it goes back to dance, like the thing that you fell in love with as a little girl.
Yeah.
It's still feeding you later on in life, and it's still kind of the highlights.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. What was Paris like? What was that?
Oh
like,
my
what was
gosh.
that anxiety like?
We went to Paris every 2 weeks for 2 weeks.
What?
Oh yeah, I was
Before,
going
like-
for 4 months, for every 2 weeks. It was insane. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about like a big production like that, where I'm like, what I would have done differently and how to support the disabled community. But also, I learned a lot about like working with other people in other countries, like the language barrier. Like it was such an incredible experience, and the directors and the choreographers, they were so amazing. And yeah, it was really cool. And I feel like going on stage and leaving that stage, like I feel like that was the first time I actually performed in the moment.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I'm here. Like rolling on stage where I was the first person and seeing my face on this big screen, and then looking back and seeing the Eiffel Tower, I was like, Mama, I made it.
Yeah,
like,
right.
What?
That's a cool moment.
So
Oh my God.
I'll never forget that. And then, LA 28, it's coming.
I was just thinking that like that would be such a, I know for Infinite Flow, like Marissa, the owner of Infinite Flow, and she's trying to push for us to get in there, and I know everybody's gonna want to get in there. Is there any plans? Can you talk about that, or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's literally in our backyard, and it's the only town that like really has all of this disabled dancers in one area. So I'm like, I'm sure, I don't know, hopefully something comes across our plate, you know?
Yeah,
I have no idea though.
that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. They got time. We got time to hear back, but
I know, right?
hopefully we're all up on stage together. I think that would be the coolest thing ever.
I know.
Manifest it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely have to do
Put it out
something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think
Even if it's just on social media and TikTok, Danny, you got to do something.
I know.
Come on.
Should that be my first TikTok post?
I think it should be.
Dance with...
I got one more question before we get you out of here. So obviously you have this amazing life and you're a huge advocate and it's really cool. If you were to go back and talk to that 17-year-old version of yourself sitting in that hospital, what advice would you give her?
Yeah. I would tell her that I would say hold on tight, because what's going to happen is going to blow like your wildest dreams. So,
Yeah.
We told you we got everybody.
yeah,
to cry
you
here.
do. I knew. I was like, as soon as I knew what you're going to go for. But yeah, I would say everything's going to turn out exactly the way it should. And it has. For me, the best advice that I got as who I am, you know, being a dancer, I think was from Ati saying, once a dancer, always a dancer. And I think that also goes to show that, like, it doesn't matter what field you're in. It doesn't matter, you know, if you're a photographer, or if you're a dancer, or if you're like, you know, it doesn't matter what you do. Once you are that person, it'll never leave you. And that to me, I think was so important, hearing it from someone else who's in the same position as me, that I could still be a dancer. So even though I'm not dancing with my legs, I'm still dancing with my heart, you know, and it doesn't feel different to me when I'm on stage. So I think that was the best advice I ever got, was once a dancer, always a dancer.
I love it. I love it. You don't have to give up on your dreams, even though you got...
It just might look a little different than
Yeah.
you thought, but it's going to happen exactly how it's
Yeah.
supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like me, when I got injured, I thought my life was over, but and I
just
wanted to be an
beginning.
actor, and I actually started doing more acting after my injury.
Yeah,
than
we were just
before.
drinking a lot back then.
We were just partying too much. I was squandering.
cool.
my-
We had some good times.
we
So
had some
cool.
fun
We had some
times,
good times.
I love that, like, you did you want to act before you were paralyzed?
I did, but right before my injury, I had pretty much given up. I had given up on my dreams. I was settling for the life that I had. I was depressed.
So you always had this talent. I thought you just became injured and you're like, oh, I'm gonna be acting, and it was just like in you, but it was always in you. Like, you always wanted to.
I always wanted to be,
I wonder why you're so successful in it.
Once
then
an actor, always an actor.
listen.
but it was because of my injury that, like, you know, what I would never take it back, because if I didn't have where I'm at now, my injury in my accident, I wouldn't be where I'm at
Yeah.
in my career, in my life. So, like, you know, this isn't the end.
Yeah.
This isn't the end.
Like that saying when people say, you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. It's
Yep.
like that same thing for us. Like, you never know how strong you are until you're faced with the only option but to keep going forward, you know, and it might take a year, it might take a month, it might take 5 years, but you'll always find that because it's in you. So,
That's awesome. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for being on. Like, you're such a advocate, inspiration. Like, just listening to your story here has been awesome, and just hearing the two of you talk about dance, and just seeing Danny light up when somebody comes in the room is so awesome.
aw.
I know, right? I love the community, man. Like, it's such a family. Once you're injured, you become part of this family,
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And you're welcome with open arms. You know?
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people fight it, you know, and I think the more you fight being part of the community when you are disabled, I think the harder it is for you to like move with your disability into like exactly where you should be, you
Right.
know? And I think the sooner you can not accept, because I think accepting is like an ongoing process, but like as soon as you embrace
Yes.
who you are and embrace the community, I think that's the best thing that you could do, not only for yourself, but like for your own future, you know?
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much. It's
Thank
been
you.
it's been awesome talking to you for longer than 2 minutes.
I know, right?
You know? But I'm glad we got a chance to talk today. And
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much.
awesome. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of The Chaos with CEO, founder of the Rollettes Experience, disability advocate, Chelsie Hill. I'm your host, Mikey Tableman, alongside.
Danny J. Gomez.
We'll catch you on The Chaos next time. Peace.